Hey, it's Adam Zdroik of RotoWire. I'm going over Game Week 5 lineups in the Premier League. International break is just about over. Players are returning from teams. It is Wednesday, so everyone's back. We still have some injury questions that we don't know about. I was just thinking before the show, 2 weeks ago, we had the end of the transfer window. I probably could have named every single transfer for all of these teams. And 2 weeks on, and I've probably forgotten about some of these names. So I'm going to try and remember all of them. But I'm going to go through all 10 games here, give up my thoughts on the lineups, maybe some injury questions, some international break questions, Champions League, Europa League, UEFA stuff coming up as well. So that brings some questions in, but rotowire.com/soccer trial. I will be using, I'm actually not currently on our cheat sheet here, but the cheat sheet 48-hour trial to check that out. I'm on the lineups page, which just has all the lineups. You can check that out as well. But actually, let's go on the cheat sheet. Let's get this FPL cheat sheet up. If you never tried out our cheat sheets, we got the odds report here for everything. Tottenham are the biggest favorite, 75% win chance, home against Sheffield United. It's been a while since Tottenham were the biggest favorite on a slate, but here we are. And Liverpool are actually a bigger favorite than Manchester City. Liverpool at Wolverhampton, Manchester City at West Ham. But this is what the cheat sheet has. Anytime goal scorer odds. Erling Haaland is down to minus 190 to score. He's still the favorite. We got free kicks on here. We got player stats, and look at this. You can sort by floors. I'm not sure. This is per 90 here. So Dahoud and Skip have the best floors at FPL, which I assume is because they had clean sheets in both their starts, something like that, or some. I don't know. I don't know how these stats came about, but hey, that's what the numbers say. That's what the robot gives us. So I guess there you go. The robot says Dahoud and Skip have the best FPL floors. I'm not sure what that means, but let's get into these games here. We got a comment here. Ankur saying hello. How's it going? Welcome to Game Week 5. First game here. So we don't have any Friday games. We got Saturday, we got Sunday, we got Monday. Wolverhampton hosting Liverpool. And I do have some changes up for Wolverhampton if you're looking at this. So new signing, Bellegarde, throwing him in the lineup, basically replacing the spot of Sarabia. Sarabia has been in and out of the squad. Whenever he starts, it's only like he goes 60 minutes. I'm not sure O'Neill likes Sarabia that much, or maybe he's too old or something like that. But I'm just, 2 weeks here with the team for Bellegarde. I'm moving him in the starting 11. I don't think Sarabia is that big of a favorite of O'Neill. So, in my other change here is I got Kovacic starting up front instead of Fabio Silva. And again, another 2 weeks here with the team. He didn't go anywhere for the national break. I guess maybe he went home or something like that. Meet up with family. I don't know what his personal plans were, but Fabio Silva was playing with Portugal, so he has a little more tread on his tires. I think Fabio took part in the 9-0 drubbing of whoever by Portugal. Fabio Silva could continue to start, but Kovacic he's been slowly increasing his minutes from the bench, and I think eventually he's going to get a start, and maybe it's out of the international break. We'll see. But that one could be wrong. Most people will be projecting Fabio Silva. I'm just taking a chance here on Kovacic that Wolves change things up. Liverpool have a few more questions. We know about TAA. I assume he's going to be fine out of their national break. Again, there really hasn't been any reports. I'm talking Monday, so this is before press conferences. This is before some of these players are even returning to their team. Again, it's similar with Konate. Assume that Konate is going to be ready. These are two minor injuries that both players should be able to return from. If not, we could again see Joe Gomez and Joel Matip playing center back for Liverpool. Curtis Jones, I'm keeping him in the midfield, Szoboszlai and McAllister. I do think Curtis Jones may be a preferred central midfielder now that he's getting healthy here. But with Champions League coming up, there will be a rotation, some tweaks here and there by Klopp, but I don't think just yet. I may remove Darwin Nunez out. We'll see what we'll see what Klopp has to say at his press conference about Nunez. So Nunez went 45 minutes on Tuesday. He went 45 minutes Tuesday, subbed out Marcelo Bielsa. The team manager was basically like felt some muscular difficulties, so I took him out. If that's the case, if he's not 100%, there's no reason to, push him too much. So it could be Jota back in there. It could be Gakpo back in there for Liverpool. Something to keep an eye on. But Luis Diaz, I believe he's healthy. I think he'll be starting with Salah. Sorry, just reading a comment here. I'll get to Tottenham comment. I'll get there when I get to that one. West Ham are home against Manchester City. Soufal picked up another guy who picked up a minor issue and picked up a knock with Czech Republic here. Knock in training, did not take part in Tuesday's game. We'll see what it is. Again, we'll see. David Moyes isn't very telling about injuries. But if Soufal can't go, we could see Ben Johnson. We could see Terror playing right back. Just something to keep an eye on. But as you can see in this formation, I have Ben Rama. I moved Ben Rama out. This is the same. I believe it's exactly the same starting 11 that they used against Brighton in that 3-1 win. So it's a little more defensive. As you can see, Ward-Prowse, Souček, and then Edson Alvarez in that deeper defensive midfield role. This is something that Moyes tried out against Brighton, and now against Manchester City. It wouldn't be surprising if he kind of does the same thing here, because just getting, just more defensive, sit back and go on the counter. I think that that's what Moyes is going to do here. Otherwise, I mean, Man City is going to have 80% possession. I just don't see the reason to keep going, not to try what they did against Brighton again in this matchup. As for Manchester City, we just got word about Tuesday about Kovacic. He's dealing with a back issue. Again, I mean, this was reported back in Croatia, so we'll see how good that reporting is. They kind of said might keep him out 7 to 10 days. If that's the case, we'll see how this lines up. We do have some questions. Maybe John Stones is ready coming out of the break. Jack Grealish should probably be fine. Another one of those guys, him and TAA didn't get to play with England over the national break. But if no one returns, this is kind of what we're looking at. We also have Gvardiol as an option. I think the back line is where they can tweak the most. We could get to a spot where we're back in the 3-2-4-1 kind of thing. So something to keep an eye on as well. But again, I have Bernardo Silva here as a defensive midfielder with Champions League coming up. Maybe Rico Lewis is in, but Bernardo Silva really hasn't been playing much. Coming back from an illness, he missed a couple games. Then he came off the bench in the game before the international break. I'm not sure how much he's actually played for Portugal, but I think he's going to be fine. Again, we could see something to where it's like John Stones next to Rodri, something like that. But I mean, even then, you still need enough attacking players. Sergio Gomez has been someone who's played on the left wing. I don't think there's going to be, Pep's not going to go. This is Pep's first match back from back surgery. I believe he's actually returned to Manchester City. At least that's what they reported from his back surgery. So he should be back with the team for this one. And everyone's a big Bernardo fan. So I think he'll be back in there. Foden, Alvarez, I got Doku in there again as well. They just don't have a ton of guys to tweak here. We'll see about Grealish. Again, no reason to push these guys when they're not fully healthy. All right, the question was, Anker is asking, Manar Solomon could start again on the left wing for Spurs. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I just got Richarlison back in. I think at the end of the day, Tottenham's goal to get Tottenham at their best is to get Richarlison back in form. Richarlison, again, he started. I think he only went 60 minutes against, I want to say, Peru on Tuesday, did not score. So, I mean, what Tottenham have to do right now is try and get Richarlison back in form. And at home against Sheffield United, this is a great spot to get him back in form. Maybe they go back to what they did against Burnley with Solomon in there and Son's playing as a false nine. That's possible. I'm just going back to what they did for the first 3 games, really. I mean, as you see here, Richarlison got a few starts, had a knock, played 18 minutes off the bench there in that game. I think he's going to be in, though. Solomon, maybe. Maybe Postecoglou is just like, okay, Richarlison, work this out yourself, and we're not going to start you until you actually figure out how to score again. Something like that. I don't think he's going to take that approach, but it's still possible. Otherwise, I think everyone else is pretty much healthy for him, so there shouldn't be any changes. It's basically Richarlison or Solomon in the starting 11. I guess I should also mention Brendan Johnson. He is now on the team, so that's something else we have to deal with. But Brendan Johnson, doubt he's going to be starting here in his first game with the team. Sheffield United, we do have some questions here. So I wasn't entirely sure what to do here. So there's not a ton of changes. 3-5-2. I got Archer was pretty good. I don't know, probably great in his first game. Teamed up with McBurney up front. And then I think the changes we'll have here. So James McAtee, they got James McAtee. And James McAtee is going to go somewhere in this team. I'm not sure exactly where. As you see, I got Luke Thomas starting on the left wing because Osborne came out last match, or maybe 2 matches ago. Larouci came out as well. So we could see James McAtee start on the left wing, or maybe someone, I don't know if Amr or Vinicius wouldn't start on the left wing. James McAtee is going to fit somewhere in here. I'm not sure if it's his first game back with Sheffield United, but I think he's going to go somewhere. Last season with Sheffield United, he did not play on the left wing, so I didn't really feel comfortable putting him out there. They got Luke Thomas for a reason. Maybe Larouci is fine and he's able to start again. Just something to keep an eye on. In case you're intrigued by Sheffield United as the biggest underdog. But that's the one thing I'm looking at just to check on, where McAtee fits in this team. Maybe it moves Vinicius out of the starting 11, something like that. That team is probably slightly more attacking. They probably want Vinicius just to bully guys in the middle, kind of a thing. So we'll see. We'll see if Luke Thomas gets his first start with the club as well. Something to look at going forward. Manchester United, for the past 2 weeks, since the international break, it's been Lisandro Martinez. He doesn't actually have an injury. He's fine. But, he didn't play in either match for Argentina over the international break. So we'll see. We'll see if he's fine. We know, I guess Varane, we need an update on Varane. I guess Varane probably is out. We could see I do think Delo is going to start again with Wan-Bissaka, but we could see Reguilon in the starting 11. They added him for a reason. I don't know if it's worth it to start him over Delo, but maybe just a better defensive option against this Brighton team. You could look at it like that. If Martinez isn't ready, if Martinez and Varane are out, is Harry Maguire going to be starting? Maybe. I think he just had an own goal for England on Tuesday. We also have Anthony. He's going to be out. He's had he had some issues here over their national break. May not even play for Manchester United again. So we'll see what happens with that. Initially, I did have Amrabat in the starting 11. We'll get an update on his fitness here, because we could see Casemiro next to Amrabat in the defensive mid, and then we got Christian Eriksen moving kind of into it would be actually Christian Eriksen moving into the attacking midfield role, and probably Bruno moving out to the right side where Antony plays. So something to keep an eye on. I got Højlund here getting his first start. He's got 2 weeks. Fitness is getting up. He scored a couple more goals. I think a couple more. He scored at least one more over the break as well for his national team. So those are the things I look out. Martial hasn't really been playing well, so I moved him out for Højlund. Maybe, I know Erik ten Hag likes Martial, so maybe Martial starts again. Something to think about here. But if Amrabat's ready, I think it's going to be Casemiro and Amrabat right next to each other, and then that's pushing Eriksen up in an attacking role and Bruno out to a wing. So something to keep an eye on, especially once Ten Hag doesn't usually say too much injury-wise. But I mean, if he says Amrabat's ready, I think he's going to be thrown in there because Eriksen just doesn't provide really the defensive support there next to Casemiro, something Amrabat is going to provide. So especially in this matchup against Brighton. This morning we got news here for Brighton that Danny Welbeck has been training. He's back in training. So I got him in. I originally had Ansu Fati in there, but I mean, Fati just hasn't really been with the team a long time. And I mean, De Zerbi ball is you just don't throw someone into it when they haven't been, full week of training with them. So if Welbeck's ready, maybe Evan Ferguson's ready. We really haven't heard anything about Evan Ferguson since last week when, this knee thing came up. I mean, we can get the exact quote here. Again, yeah, the Ireland manager, Stephen Kenny, was just like, I don't think it was well reported. It's basically a knee that's bugging him. I think Ferguson actually scored a hat trick while his knee was bugging him, so he could be healthy. We'll see. I mean, Ferguson could be starting. Welbeck could be starting. Maybe Pedro isn't even in there, but I got Pedro. He's the one guy who isn't injured between Welbeck and Ferguson, so you figure that Pedro's going to start. I don't think Fati's going to start. We got Gilmore and Gross in there, and maybe I guess Veltman won his job back against James Milner, so he's in there. And then I guess Van Heck is another guy who has been in and out with Webster, but I think Van Heck is going to be the preferred option. Then again, we got Verbruggen in. Verbruggen, I guess, has already won the job for Brighton, so that's another interesting thing. So I'm only 4 games through. I'm talking too much here. Fulham, no, shouldn't be any major changes. Anthony Robinson maybe picked up a minor thing with the USA, something to keep an eye on. Once Marco Silva talks, once press conferences go on. I got Willian back in the starting 11. He's been training over the break. He should be healthy. I think he's a preferred option over Cordova-Reid. And I think that's about it. Paulinho will be back. He did not play in the game before the break because of all the transfer talk. Harrison Reed, we'll see about the status of Kearney and Lukic, but I think Harrison Reed gets a start. Either way, Alex Iwobi yet to make his Fulham debut. Luton, they don't do too many changes here. We do have the question of Lockyer. He had that injury right before the break. I think it's muscle related. I don't know if he's going to start right away here. And then Luton Town kind of has 3 wingbacks. It might be a thing where they just rotate wingbacks here throughout the season. Kabore is another option. Kabore is probably their best defensive wingback. So in tougher matchups, I think they're going to go him. So something to keep an eye on. I wouldn't be surprised if Giles actually sits here. So you got Doughty and Kabore starting. So something to monitor here if Giles starts losing some time, because while he started the first 4 games, he was subbed off early in the last one. And Doughty did play really well in Luton Town's last match. I believe that was home against West Ham. I think he's fine overall. I mean, we got a questionable mark here because of injury, but I think he's fine. Aston Villa, this is their 4-2-3-1 with pretty much no changes. I don't think any of these guys will be back. Ramsey, Moreno. I think Carlos is fine, but I don't think any of these guys will be back. I think this is the formation they run out here. This is a home spot. This is a bounce back spot for them. No changes. I think the big thing for Crystal Palace, Olise is not going to be ready to start if he is even close to being ready, but he has been pictured in training, kind of a thing. The question, I think, is what's going to happen with Schlupp and Mateta here? I think eventually, maybe not eventually is the right word because Olise is coming back, but Schlupp's going to be the odd man out here in the starting 11 because Olise is going to eventually move in here. But when Edouard and Mateta have played together the last 2 matches, Crystal Palace have been really good. Okay, the question is, are they going to look really good at Aston Villa in this spot? That's kind of why I have Schlupp in here. Schlupp's, a little more defensive player. So I think they go with Schlupp again just because of the matchup. But if they are down, I think Mateta is a guy who could be on at halftime in the 60th minute, something like that, if they're down. So something to keep an eye on. Mateta's playing time will be unpredictable this season, especially once Olise is back from injury. Newcastle, home against Brentford. We got news about Tonali. He picked up an injury with Italy, I believe earlier. Muscular problem. That was reported yesterday. So we'll see in terms of being ready for this game. Muscular problem. They got Champions League coming up. You don't want to push him. So they got Sean Longstaff. So I got him in there with Joelinton and Bruno in the midfield. I think Botman's ankle issue is on the low scale here of being bad. So I think he's back in the starting 11. If not, I mean, maybe we get Dan Burn back in there at center back, and instead of Target, maybe Lewis Hall comes in. Maybe that happens. I don't think there's. I mean, with Champions League coming up, maybe there are some more tweaks, but I think this is a spot where Newcastle need points in league play. They had a really tough first 4 games, and they need spots here. I think it's just going to be the same A squad, maybe outside of Tonali, that Eddie Howe is going to use here at home. Brentford, difficult matchup. So I got the 5-3-2 formation, Visa and Mbomo at forward, and then pretty much everyone else is the same. Nathan Collins moves back in because it's 5 defenders. No surprises there. I doubt that they run out the 4-3-3 here in this spot. That would be surprising. I strongly believe, I'm 80% confident that Brentford goes with the 5-3-2 formation here. Gonna need a water here. All right, Bournemouth. Big thing here for Bournemouth. Tavernier, I got him back in. Injury prone, maybe he doesn't start right away, but let's click into his profile here. So he played 19 minutes just before the break. A few days later, he played 45 minutes for the development squad. That's good enough for me. That was almost 2 weeks ago. That's good enough for me. I got him back in. Bournemouth pretty much, Andoni Areola has been rotating that left wing pretty much for 3 or 4 matches. Clivert has been the guy the last couple. They also have, who do they also have? Who am I thinking of? They also have Sinistera and David Brooks as well. But Tavernier, I think you can argue he is their best player and most threatening player. So something to keep an eye on here. Tyler Adams, I don't think he's going to be ready to start here coming out. Lloyd Kelly is an option to start on the back line again as well. Looks like Lewis Cook won the job over Joe Rothwell. Solanke, Billing, okay. There will be some questions going forward here, but I think Semenyo is the preferred guy on the right side, and then Tavernier on the left side. We'll see. We'll see how it goes if Tavernier gets his first start or if he comes off the bench. The one thing I'd worry about, whoever starts, is Tavernier is now in play to be subbed on at halftime. So just something to think about if you're playing DFS or whatever you're playing. Chelsea, I got no changes here. Same squad. They don't really have much coming back. Badiashile, maybe he might be ready, but there's no reason to move him in. Broha, he could be in the squad. He could be in the squad. That was just reported. Otherwise, I don't know if there's much else here. Mudryk, I guess Mudryk is now healthy, so he could come in. But where's he going to go, kind of thing. You kind of have to change up something else. You'd have to change up the formation, I guess. But they've used this formation the first 4 matches. You're not going to take out Sterling. You're not going to take out Jackson. You're not going to take out Enzo. I don't know what they're. A decision will have to be made. I assume a change in formation. If Mudryk comes in, they're probably going to have to change formation because you're not going to put him in Ben Chilwell spot. Maybe you are, but I'm not thinking that's going to happen. Everton at home, we got Dwight McNeil. He's back. He came off the bench just before the break, and I got him starting, so he got a couple weeks on him. Beto starting again. We haven't really heard anything about Calvert-Lewin since before the break, so we still don't actually know if he's going to be, what his status is going to be, but Beto, he's starting in there. Tarkowski has had 2 weeks to recover from a concussion, I believe, or at least concussion symptoms. Branthwaite had planned groin surgery, very minor, or treatment. So maybe he's not ready. We'll see about that. Otherwise, it could be Michael Keane or it could be Ben Godfrey. Not the best situation here for center back for Everton, but we got Arsenal. I got the same squad that they used against Manchester United outside of, I got Jesus starting again. 2 more weeks of Jesus. He's healthy. He's going to get the call over Nketiah. At least I think so. That's what I'm going with. Gabriel, he's keeping his spot next to Saliba. We don't, I guess Party, how long is this injury? I guess multiple weeks. Okay. So yeah, it looks like Party is out. So probably Ben White again with Gabriel Saliba and Zinchenko. So again, no real crazy changes here for Arsenal outside of Jesus starting over Nketiah. All right, last game here, Monday night. We have Nottingham Forest against Burnley. Interesting game. These teams just played 2 weeks ago in the Cup. I don't think there's going to be too many changes. I don't think Serge Aurier is actually hurt. Probably went off with cramps in the game before the break. We'll get more information on that, but I think he's going to be fine. Otherwise, Gatalanga starting. We could see some changes. Nottingham Forest added a bunch of pieces. So we could see changes coming out of the break, but I didn't really do any of that. So they added Dominguez and Singare and Santos. Any of those guys could really start. I think maybe Yates is going to be the guy on the outside looking in. Maybe Mangala. I think maybe Mangala keeps his spot. Yates will probably lose his starting spot. We could see Dominguez or Sangare in there. I think Danilo is dealing with a hamstring injury, so I don't think he starts. That's why Elanga's in there. And then they also added Hudson-Odoi and Origi. Origi's probably going to be the Taiwo substitute, and then Hudson-Odoi will fight for starts with Elanga. I think it's going to be between Elanga and Hudson-Odoi for a lot of those Brennan Johnson minutes. Granted, in certain matchups, Danilo has played as an attacking role as well. But this is what I have here. Elanga's been with the team longer, so I got him starting, and he's played pretty well when playing. Burnley, there's not much to say here. No one knows what they're going to do. Brownhill played 45 minutes. It's been a situation all season where it's like, okay, why isn't Brownhill playing more? Came off the bench, played 45 minutes for Goodmunson in their last game. Who did they add? I don't know if they actually added. They didn't really add anyone else of note right before the deadline. All right, I'm running out of breath here. It's been a while since I did a 25-minute straight show. All right, look at their back line. Roberts has played left back and right back. I don't think Delcroix is going to move back in there. Ekdal, I believe, is still out, but I got Brownhill in. The other question would be the status of Aaron Ramsey. If Aaron Ramsey is healthy, he will be in there. I believe he will be a regular starter. Koleoshu, I guess he's going to be a regular starter. Foster and Amdoni are getting regular minutes as well. This is my last time. This is my last time trying Brownhill in the starting 11. We'll see if it happens. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I'm just looking at his score log here. He scored off the bench in 45 minutes against Tottenham. He started in the cup game, and I believe they actually beat Nottingham Forest in that first game in the cup where Brownhill started. So this is what Brownhill has done. This is my last time thinking that he's going to start. If he doesn't start, then I guess that Vincent Kompany hates him. But all right, that's all I got for this show. Thanks for watching this. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Hopefully some of it was helpful. Rotowire.com/soccer trial. That's a 48-hour trial. Get the cheat sheet. This is an FPL cheat sheet, and then you can get all of our stats as well. Check out the odds report. You can find me on X. I am at Zdroik, and then Rotowire Soccer is at Rotowire Soccer. Thanks for watching this. We'll have betting shows throughout the week. We'll have DFS shows throughout the week. We'll have all kinds of shows throughout the week. Thanks for watching. See everyone for Game Week 6.